Practice for offering.
Okay, shall we start again? Can you hear me online, people? Yes? Yeah, okay. Okay, let's do this. Okay, everybody. Shall we do it?
Yeah.
Shall we start?
I'm still. Thank you.
Let's do it. I don't know where's Alex, where he's gone, but we're gonna start. Okay, so we finished refuge and we're gonna talk about tatsas. Okay, so what are tatsas? Tatsas are images made of clay. Plaster, yes. Yeah, plaster. Okay, so like these ones here. You see? Small little images of the Buddhas. Yes? The online people can see it. Yes? Can you see it? So we have different kind of like, here is like 3 in 1. Here we just have 1, you know? And we have kind of like different sizes as well, you know? And different colors. You see? They are kind of like, so what is like, why we are doing kind of like images of the Buddha? It's to help us with our visualization. Okay? So because if you think about it, they have like a mold, okay, that you kind of like put an entire practice. You also make a refuge. You take like bodhicitta. You kind of like, you know, develop, and then you put the plaster inside of these molds, and then you put it over there, you know, and then they need to dry maybe 24 hours or something like this, and then you need to take them out, and then when you take them out, you need to check if they are entire, if they have something. So you are kind of like looking at the Buddha, you know, the Buddha image or whatever Buddha image, not only like the Shakyamuni Buddha, but it can be Tara, it can be Manjushri, it can be Medicine Buddha, it can be all of the different manifestations. So you're creating those imprints in your mind, you know? So when you're going to visualize them in front of you, you know, yesterday we are visualizing Tara in front of us, it becomes very easy. It helps us. Because think about it, the amount of stuff that we use our eyes to see, you know, the amount of kind of like, especially nowadays with Instagram, with kind of like a TikTok or whatever these things are, you know, that people use. We're just using our visual memory and our imprints with our eyes, just rubbish. Let's make it really easy to say, you know. So this is the idea that we are kind of like creating the imprints in our mind of the images of the Buddha. So when we're gonna die, especially, you know, when our minds are kind of like completely uncontrolled, the more we have the visualization of these mindset, the moment of the death, we can just try to think, oh, think about the Buddhas. And because we created these little images, it becomes very stronger, that karmic imprint in our mind, that seed, that kind of like habituation. So then that means that when we're gonna be reborn, we hope that this is gonna kind of like, you know, we're gonna be guided or we're gonna meet the Buddhas again. So the more we kind of like benefit by seeing and creating them, it's incredible. And especially when you're doing like you take them out and then you can see that they maybe have a little bit of this and that, and you just kind of like brush them or send them, you know. Such a beautiful practice. It's very, very nice. And then more than that, then we can paint them, right? And we can paint it just like these, like in gold, to kind of like when we were visualizing now the merit field, you know, like with golden light and all of that. So that help us to see it. And then it's like, oh, wow, that's amazing. You know, it just kind of like makes these imprints and help us to develop that mindset and kind of like, you know, really in our minds, but also we can paint them. I couldn't find a better image, but these, we can paint them in different colors, colorful, you know. For example, the Medicine Buddha, like these ones, you know, you can paint them in blue, you know, because that's their color. So and that this becomes a practice. It's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful practice. And for those that are artists or like these, you know, you can kind of like do it. So many people sometimes, I have Rebecca was just saying that a few years back they had someone, a nun, that also did a lot of these tatas.
We had We made them here.
They made it here, and then they made a kind of like a day of just making them and then painting, you know, or maybe we could do that because sometimes people just kind of like connect with that, right? People connect sometimes just with that part because they don't want to know so much about, but they just don't want just want to paint and kind of like create those images. That is great way to children especially, you know, like how do you want to make children that maybe not interested in that? It's just like you know, ask them to come and help you to paint. You know, I remember when last year I came and then I was here for 3 months, but then I had to go for maybe a week or something. I can remember because my brother was getting married, the one that already has a child, fast kid. And then, you know, I had all of these tatas at home, right? Remember? Exactly. And then I already had, so I decided, I said, I want to give as a gift for the people that have been so kind to me. So I painted them, you know, but of course there were so many and I didn't have so much time. So I got my brother who was there, you know, visiting from Canada. He lives in Canada, and I said, "Oh, give me a hand," you know, and he was like, "Oh yeah," he loves painting. He's very artistic, very nice. And then he was like, "Oh yeah, that's very nice," and he was just like painting and doing, and then you know, without like doing anything, he was just creating those imprints in his mind, right? Is that so? Just you know, sneaky, yeah, that's how you kind of like, why? Because you understand the benefit of it. So if you understand the benefit of it, even if the person doesn't understand and might, you know, but this is creating benefit for them for sure. Why? Because they are creating those imprints, and then in next lives they're going to see an image of the Buddha and they're going to say, oh yes, I like it, this, I had a good experience with that. So maybe they're going to develop, you know, interest and connection with this. Sorry, sweetheart, you're going to say something then? No, no, about you making them. Yeah. Yes. So that's like you know, that then it's a very special practice, you know. It's one of the longest of the preliminaries because it's a little bit more, how can I say,
Time intensive.
well, not only time maintenance, but also you need more things, you know, you need more resources. For example, you know, we've seen so far prostrations, you need your body and a space, right? Then we saw water bows. Yes, you also need a little bit of things, but it's like water, and then bow is a little bit easier, you know. Then we saw it mandala. Yes, the mandala also, you know, if you want to really do it, the best is to have one of these. So yeah, it takes a little bit, but also it's something, you know. Then we saw refuge, right? And now we are seeing tatas. But tata, you need to get the clay, you need to get the molds, you know, it's a specific places. Nowadays, there's not so many places that we can have it. One of the only places in the West is in Nalanda Monastery in south of France. So, you know, it's kind of like a bit of a, you really need to want to do it. You know what I mean? And then like plaster makes a bit of a mess. So you need to also have a space. And then, you know, if you want to paint, then you need to, so, but if you do it, it's a very special practice. It's very soothing and relaxing, you know? It's very, and the mind becomes extremely calm when you're doing this practice. It's very special, you know, because you're just with Buddha's images all the time. So it's very nice. So that is also a mind that is, as we say, just we are creating the virtual mind to see the Buddhas and to meet the Buddhas and to get a connection with the Buddha image, you know, again and again and again and again and again in future lives. So how very special. Maybe we can do a session with children to paint tatas. Yes, Sandra, that is exactly what I just said with Rebecca. Maybe don't know if this time we can do it, but maybe next time, you know, and we can do it.
After you leave, I'm willing, we could, if people
Yes.
come on Saturday, because I have
Yes.
a bunch that are made.
Yes, so Rebecca is gonna organize that.
Just the paint?
Yes, they are already done. So just for painting, I'm gonna make sure that Rebecca does that. Yes. So we
As long
can.
as we're not judged.
Yeah, no, it's not about kind of like, you know, we just try to do the best we can. You guys saw the ones that I did it last year. It was like, I'm not a, my worst thing in subject at school was arts. So, you know, it was like a very messy, but you know, just intention, and you try your best, and then, you know, of course, you really try to make it beautiful because you're offering that, right? So that is the most important. So that's why I always say easier is to try to make them like just gold first, you know, and then you go into the more elaborate ones like that one. Oh yes, that gold and then the body, and then you know the body. Then you go slowly, slowly. Or maybe you already have that, then you can just, you know, and you can go to, for example, to Nalanda sometimes, you know, they organize sessions, you know, that you can go to practice, like you know how to say workshops, yeah, for people to learn how to paint them, the colors and all of that. So it's a very, very nice practice. So that is very special. And once we create those images, we should see these images as a representation of the Buddha. So we should be very considerate of them, right? Not just like, ah, yes, oh, it's just another thing. So we just put it on the floor, we just put it on the toilet or anything like that. No, really to see they are representations of the Buddha manifested in that way, the Tara manifested in that way, the Buddha medicine Buddha manifested in that way to benefit us. So we should have that connection, that kind of like respect, that I'm gonna use the word admiration, yes, but admiration in the way that understanding, not like blind faith, but say, oh wow, they're reverence is a good word, you know, devotion is also a nice word, you know, to say, wow, this is nice, you know, because I can see the benefit of these kind of like the way or reasons why they developed in this way, right? So, so yes, so that's tatsas. So we also try to accumulate 100,000 of them, okay?
So I'm gonna do it on Saturday, September 6th from 2 to 4.
Wow. It's already decided. Saturday, the 6th of September,
2 to 4.
2 to 4. Okay, everybody write down in your diary book. In your diary book. Okay? Saturday,
So if we make one,
September 6th.
then we only have to make
No, because we're
99.
not making.
No, you're not making it.
Just
They already made.
It wouldn't count.
It wouldn't
No.
count. Painting doesn't count as making, huh?
Thinking then we would only have, I would only have 99,000.
99,999, yes. That's a good way of thinking.
I'll bring some molds though to show you
Yes,
how they're made and that sort of thing.
Yes, they're very good.
Yeah.
That's very good. Very good. Very good. Yeah, because then you guys can put it. So Saturday, 6th of September, 2 to 4 p.m. Okay, not a.m. Okay, so now we're gonna talk about the other 7th, the 6th. How many we did it already? So we did it already. Let's go up. We did it already. Prostrations, water balls, mandalas, refuge, tata, and then, oh yes, then we have it, Lama Tsongkhapa prayer, okay? So why we make the Lama Tsongkhapa prayer? Actually, the Lama Tsongkhapa prayer is what we call a guru. Remember we were talking about the guru, and we were talking that the guru is the essence of the path. To be even more precise, because I couldn't start it like that, so but now we can talk about it. All of the preliminary practices, they are done inside of the context of a guru. I don't want to use the word guru devotion. So I don't like that word devotion. Devotion means kind of like
Respect, about respect.
yeah, the guru, like a practice that is making the guru a connection with the guru.
An unfolding.
Huh?
An unfolding.
Unfolding, yes, you know, a connection with the guru. So there is specific prayers or specific practices that we do that. So you know, so in this tradition we do a practice that is called Lama Tsongkhapa Guru Yoga. Okay, we can call it, we do a Guru Yoga practice. Yoga means union. So that's why I use connection. Because what we are trying to do is that we are trying to make that connection with the Guru. We are trying to unite our mind with the mind of the Guru. What does it mean that? We are kind of like blending our minds with the Guru? No. The mind of the Guru right now, as we were saying, is a pure mind. It's a mind of a Buddha. And the mind of the Buddha has only the correct view, so it doesn't have any projections. It's seeing things as they are. And there's only compassion, love, kindness to benefit us. So we can also achieve the same state. Yes? We talked about it for an hour this morning. Okay? So this is what like the mind of the Buddha. So we say that the mind of the Guru is exactly the same in nature, right? Has the same mind because they're doing that with us right now. They are wanting us to achieve enlightenment. They are wanting us to purify our mind. Our minds has the same potential to be like their mind. But right now, because we know from our own experiences that our minds don't see things as they are, and our minds are not thinking about love and compassion and kindness towards others 24/7, right? So what we are trying to unite with, unify with, is with that potential. We are trying to say the nature of the mind of the Guru, the nature of the mind of the Buddha, the nature of my mind is exactly the same. So if I can unite my mind with that, with what the Gurus and the Buddha's minds are already, I become like them. Makes sense what I'm trying to say? So that is what we call Guru Yoga. We are trying to develop our minds towards developing in a way that becomes like the mind of the Guru and the Buddha. Makes sense. If the mind of the Buddha, we understand, it is free of suffering. It's understanding reality as it is. It's free of elaborations, projections, anything, and only wants to benefit others. So that's what we want to achieve. That's what we are trying to develop in our minds. So all of these practices are done with that intention as well. Understanding that our minds right now are not like this, but have the potential to be like that, right? So remember that I say that there is three, that Lama Tsongkhapa said that we have to purify our minds and accumulate virtuous minds, that we need to make strong requests to the Guru, and we need to make the meditations on impermanence, on death, and all of that. So these practices, this practice of Guru devotion or Guru Yoga, encompasses all of these. How? Because first we are making requests to the Guru. We are saying, like, oh, Gurus, I can see and I can feel and experience that you are like, like the Buddhas. You are here. You are a manifestation of the intention of the Buddha to benefit sentient beings. Makes sense, right? The Buddha are manifesting as the Guru. Because that's what we need in this world. Someone physically with flesh there, so we can believe it is possible, so we can talk, so we can receive teaching, so we can receive advice, so we can kind of like, see it. Otherwise, it would just be, like the sound or whatever. We're not believing that. Makes sense? So that is the Guru devotion, the Guru union of the Guru, So we're going to make these requests. And then to do that, we're going to make these practices, whatever practice it is that we are doing, that we're going to do like, prostration. So we do with that intention to unite our minds with the mind of the Guru, with the mind of the Buddha. But there is a specific practice that we do that is called the prayer to Lama Tsongkhapa. So Lama Tsongkhapa, we consider it like, let's say, the representation of all the Gurus in our tradition. Why? Because he was the one who founded this tradition. Lama Tsongkhapa, when I started to hear about him, because we talk about him all the time, you know, Lama Tsongkhapa is like the 14th, he was the 14th century kind of like teacher and, you know, incredible scholar. And he has these very, very incredible text commentaries and all of that. And I thought that he was a boring person, if I can be honest with you, because I'm not an academic person. I don't like, you know, these very difficult texts, and you read it, some of these texts, and you don't understand. You say, this is a commentary. A commentary is something to elucidate, you know, to clarify another text. And you read it and it becomes even more confusing. And you're like, what is this? You know, like, so I was a bit like, ah. And then I start to read about the story of Lama Tsongkhapa. And Lama Tsongkhapa was an incredible meditator, incredible practitioner, incredible teacher, very kind, doing so many good things. So he was studying and he was writing commentaries about all of these texts and all of that. And he came to one person that was in, let's say, talking to Manjushri, the Buddha of compassion, the Buddha of wisdom. And he wanted to know if he was already kind of like had understood, you know, the philosophy, so he could meditate and see things as they are, see reality, right? And Manjushri said, no, you still have contaminations in your mind. You need to do preliminary practices. Which for people was saying, wait a minute, he's already giving like highest like tantric teachings. He's already there, right? And then he was so happy that Manjushri told him to do that. So he went and he did more than 1 million prostrations, more than 3 million mandala offerings. He did all of this, all of that. During 4.5 years, he was just doing these practices. And then his mind was completely clear, completely free from all of the self-cherishing and everything. And then he realized emptiness, or realized reality as it is. And then he became this teacher that until now, so that he was like 1400s. So how many years is that? More than 500, 600 years, no, 600 years, right? More than 600 years ago, we are still benefiting from his teachings. Okay? So because of his incredible dedication. So what we are doing here, what we are kind of like purifying, is our negative ideas with our gurus. And negativities that we created with this idea that, you know, I'm superior to the guru, I know best, or I don't know, the guru doesn't know, the guru is like this, or all of that, that, you know, that sometimes I still remember one person, you know, we were in Bodh Gaya waiting for Rinpoche to come. And there was this guy who was there in Bodh Gaya, like studying already a bit Buddhism, but he didn't met Rinpoche. And he was so excited because people were talking so much about Rinpoche and all of that. And then, you know, then we come and then Rinpoche comes in and very kind, and then he starts to teach. And he starts to make good jokes and to talk and to kind of like, almost like sometimes people used to say that he looks like a drunk person, you know, just kind of like laughing and making jokes and things like that. People could not understand. And the guy was so pissed off, so pissed off. So he came out of the gompa and just like closed the door, like, bah, you know, very strong. And I said, wow, this is amazing, you know, because you can see that his mind has that tendency of not see the benefit that we are receiving from these, but his mind couldn't receive the benefit. So that is when you realize you created, you know, created barriers for you to see it. You know, the Buddha, the teachings, because the teachings are there. I remember once going to these teachings with His Holiness, and it was the teaching for kids. And I remember coming out from that teaching, and I said, and I had like 3 or 4 people with me, and I said, wow, did you see when he said this and that or that? And the person, no, but did you see when they said that? And it was like 4 different teachings for the viewers. We all got totally different teachings, you know, because we got what we could get from those teachings, right? So to make sure that we receive the intention that the teachings want from us, we need to purify those mindsets. And we need to create that virtue, what the Lama Tsongkhapa said, for us to make requests for the Buddhas, for the teachers to always guide us, right? So what we do is that we do this prayer. okay, which is called the Mitsema, which is 5 lines, okay. So we talk about the different kind of like so as I said, Lama Tsongkhapa is representing the gurus, right? Representing that kind of like intention to benefit us, to always be guided by the gurus. So we say Avalokiteshvara, which is the Buddha of compassion. So, you know, great treasure of non-objectifying compassion. So, you know, because let me just say one thing. If we have to say that the Buddha has 3 qualities when they achieve enlightenment, every Buddha, every person who achieve enlightenment has 3 qualities: non-objectifying compassion, or unconditional, unlimited compassion; stainless or completely perfect wisdom, means that they see reality as they are. There's no projection, there's no illusion, there's no, you know, seeing something that is not there. And they have a strong power. Power means that they have the potential to manifest in whatever way is beneficial. So it's kind of like the materiality of it, or how do you say that? Materialize, manifesting, manifesting in whatever way is beneficial for sentient beings. So they have that power to do that. Okay? So these prayers exactly about that. Is saying, oh, may I have compassion, may I have, you know, the wisdom of Manjushri, may I have the power, you know, of a Vajrapani, or the Lord of Secrets, you know, to the Tsongkhapa, which is like, you know, who started all of these kind of like teachings and this practice, like an emanation of the Buddhas, an emanation of the Guru. Please, you know, I make requests to you to always guide me. That's what we're doing. And we do that 100,000 times. It's a very special, and we do the visualization of Lama Tsongkhapa in front of us. And Lama Tsongkhapa comes from the heart of the Buddha, you know? So you visualize him. It's a very, very, very profound practice, because we are wanting our mind to become like the mind of Lama Tsongkhapa. Just unite our minds with the mind of Lama Tsongkhapa, with a mind that has compassion, wisdom, and power, which is the mind of our physical guru, which is the mind of all the Buddhas. Make sense? Yes? So that is another of the prayers of the accumulation of preliminaries. So guru devotion, guru yoga. And it is like a very, very special that we do. Actually, this is what we do, and we can do it every day. We are gonna, what time is it? We finish 4:30? Okay. We can do it. So we now have Vajrasattva mantra. Vajrasattva, the 100-syllable mantra, okay? Vajrasattva is the manifestation. Remember, Manjushri, manifestation of wisdom. Chenrezig, manifestation of compassion. We don't have Vajrapani, but Tara, manifestation of swift aspect, swift, how do you say that? Swift emanation, swift power. Vajrasattva represents purity, represents the mind that is completely pure of any faults. So when we visualize, that's why it's white, you know. That's why it has the bell and the dorje, okay. So the bell represents every time that it comes like that it makes a sound, we should remember of that things exist by causes and conditions. Without the bell and without the hand, and the sound can only exist because of that. And the Vajra is like the unbreakable compassion. That's what it represents. So it is, holding the Vajra and the bell in symbolizing the union of compassion and wisdom. That's what it has in his, in his hands. And this, and the the mantra, what we're gonna do with these is actually here we're gonna again also do the 4 opponent powers, right? We're gonna start with thinking, okay, I'm doing this not only for myself, but to benefit others, and I'm gonna take refuge in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha as my way of being able to do it. Then I regret all the negativities that I am doing. Vajrasattva is the most effective, in a way, powerful purification practice. If you want one to purify, Vajrasattva every day in the evenings after you've done a lot of negative things with your mind, you want to take a shower, you take a Vajrasattva shower. That's what we can do. We can kind of like take Vajrasattva shower, just visualizing Vajrasattva as this pure, which is the purity of our own mind. So right now we don't have the spirit of our own mind. We kind of like, we do have the potential, but we are not pure yet. Why? Because we have our habitual tendencies, our negative emotions, and our projections. Yes? So we are asking the Vajrasattva to help us. So the Vajrasattva is in front of us, pure, made of light, looking at us. And then we do a visualization while we're going to chant the mantra, seeing that through the heart of Vajrasattva comes all of this white light and enter through the crown of our heads and goes like, like a kind of like a literally like a shower or something like that. Is like going from top to down, and it's just like purifying our body, our speech, and our mind, and all of the negativities that we have. We can see it as toxic, of kind of like whatever type of bad things, and we can see it going out from the bottom of our bodies, just like going out, and these white light is just coming in and purifying ourselves. And then we just continue doing this while we're doing the mantra. And I'm trying to see.
It's on page 64.
64, the yellow book.
Yep.
The meaning of the mantra, that's what I got. Yes?
64.
Mm, we don't have the Vajrasattva practice in here.
Yeah, it's on page 64.
64.
Well, I mean, it's just the mantra.
No.
Oh,
Yeah, I wanted the practice itself, because the practice it says over there, and I didn't bring it. Yes. How to prepare the meaning of the mantra. 2010 on the gray book, if you have it.
No, I'll get them.
Yes. Don't worry. Let's not waste time here. You guys can read it that after. Okay?
Sure.
Yes. So on like the body of the speech and mind, all right? And then Vajrasattva, the being who has the wisdom of inseparable bliss or compassion and emptiness. Samaya is a pledge that must not be transgressed. Okay, so I kind of like, I'm making that wish to not harm others, to not engage in negativities. Lead me along the path you took to enlightenment. So that is Manupalaya. And then make me abide closer to Vajrasattva's Vajra holy mind. Vajra is unbreakable holy mind. Please grant me a firm and stable realization of the ultimate nature of reality. Please grant me the blessings of being extremely pleased with me. So that means that you help me, right? That you continue helping me. Bless me with the nature of well-developed great bliss or great compassion. Bless me with the nature of the love that leads me to your state. Very beautiful. Please grant all powerful attainments, right? That strong wish or the strong effort. Please grant all virtuous actions. May I just abide in virtuous action. May I only uh, make, no, do virtuous actions. Please grant your glorious qualities, right? We are asking it to do it, but of course we know that it can do it not for ourselves, but please continue helping me so I can develop these. That's the idea. The Vajra Hum is the Vajra holy mind. The five transcendental, so ha, with the one time that we do ha 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 ho, is the five types of wisdom that we need to develop in order to develop the ultimate wisdom, let's say like this. Bhagavan, which is that who destroyed, the obscurations and passed beyond suffering. Then all those who have realized emptiness and knowing things just as they are, do not abandon me. The nature of indestructible inseparability. So that means, there's no difference, which is very, in a way, is kind of like saying, it looks like contradictory because it's saying like, please help me to do all of these things, but noticing that I know that there's no difference between our natures, right? But I know that right now I haven't completely purified my mind. So therefore I am not like you and I'm suffering and therefore I need help. Yes? The great pledge being the great being who has the pledge or the that you make the pledge. So it's almost saying, don't forget, you made that pledge, right? The Vajra holy speech. So that means I'm purifying the holy mind. I'm purifying the holy speech. And the transcendental wisdom of great bliss. Because when we are just in seeing things as they are, we are just in bliss. There's no kind of like suffering, right? But clarifying the transcendental wisdom that it is that union of compassion and emptiness. So what we are trying to do when we are doing the Vajrasattva is that we are trying to use that mantra and the meaning, of this mantra and this purification visualization to really decrease and using the four opponent powers to completely eliminate our negative actions and to abide or to make sure that we do positive ones. So it's a very powerful practice, very strong, very, very strong. There's a beautiful book from Lama Yeshe and Lama Zopa Rinpoche called Becoming Vajrasattva. It's a very powerful book because it really makes you understand the potential of the clarity and the purity of our minds and how we can purify it so our body, speech, and mind stop harming others and only help others. That is the idea of Vajrasattva. Okay? The good thing about this practice is that normally people do it together. They do it in group. So you like in Kopan or in Tushita, you do it in 3 months. You can completely do the Vajrasattva in a retreat settling. So that means you totally stop your life. You just go there and you do it for 3 months and then you're done, finished, enlightened. No, but at least you're kind of like pure. The mind is definitely created incredible benefit. I know people that they love so much that after that their life is getting completely transformed. Things that they had no idea that it would happen just happen. Or people that like it, enjoy it so much, even though it's like you're repeating that mantra, Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dhenopajishta, doing hours and hours and hours and trying to keep that visualization of, coming white light, purifying you, all of the negativities going out for hours during the day. Hours, right? If you think about how this is helping me, it's definitely helping. Because first, is stopping you to creating negative actions. Because if you're doing that, you're not being nasty to people. You're not speaking badly about people, gossiping, doing whatever. So using your body's just there. You're not killing anything. You're just like sitting down, right? So, and then your mind is not in visualize, even though, of course, let's face it, like when we say that we're going to try to meditate, know that those that are meditate with me in the mornings, we say, okay, let's just, pay attention on the breath. Maybe out of 6 minutes that we meditate on the breath, 10 seconds, we actually pay attention on the breath, right? So when we're doing these visualizations, maybe out of the entire day, 10 seconds you stay on the visualization. The rest, your mind goes nuts everywhere, And that's what I was talking about, especially the Vajrasattva. Many things come up. You start to see, remember things. You start to have kind of like, oh, that's why I feel like this. That's why I had that pain in my heart towards that person, Oh, that's why I have that issue with that person, or I don't trust this person because I feel that this person didn't actually took care of me, 10 years ago, or I had that feeling because I opened my heart to this person didn't kind of you start to see all of these stories that are over there in your mind that you haven't kind of but then you have the Dharma to reframe what we were discussing now in lunch, right? To reframe those stories into two ways. First, to think about it, wait a minute, I don't need to be angry, sad, or hurt or anything. That person didn't do that on purpose. That person was also contaminated by the negative mind. That person was also negative, contaminated by the negative karma. That person is also coming through illusion, right? Projecting things, right? And if I want to use it even further, I can see, well, all of this doesn't exist from its own side anyway. It's not inherent. It's just me creating that, right? It's just my completely deluded idea, thinking that there is a me inherent, and therefore all of this is happening to this inherent me. So if I look for this me inherent, I cannot find. I can only find a always changing type of me. And an always changing doesn't have that glue in it. It's just coming and going, coming and going, coming. Therefore, I can use all of these to transform the mind. Yeah, makes sense. We're almost there. You guys have been amazing, You're almost
Some of you.
almost there. So that is Vajrasattva. Extremely, extremely powerful. So we say that, other way to do it, Vajrasattva, every day. Do 21 times, the long mantra, or 28 times the short mantra. Also possible, actually. One of the things that just do it as a way to purify. Take shower. You don't need to shower, but if you every day, if you don't want, if you are like me and lazy and smelly, that you don't shower every day, but at least you just do Vajrasattva shower, best shower. Okay. So now actually we're finishing because these two I can talk so much, which is the recitation of Samaya Vajra mantra. So what is Samaya Vajra? It's another a deity, another other manifestation of the enlightened mind that comes in a certain way, and it is specific about actions that we did in relation to our guru. So it's to purify that. Remember that the guru is the most important person in our lives. So we created a lot of negativities with it. So we need to purify a lot with this. So Samaya Vajra is exactly like that. But there is a specific manifestation, a specific type of practice that we can only explain, and we can only do it if we receive it highest yoga tantra initiation. So highest yoga tantra initiation is an initiation that is given by someone that has received that initiation and can pass it on to others. Okay? Why? Because you is a tantra, remember? And tantra is like driving the Lamborghini. So you need to make sure that you are ready to drive the Lamborghini to Miami. If you don't know, then maybe they're very dangerous. So Samaya Vajra is a practice like this. So it's also purification, very similar to the purification of a Vajrasattva, but a little bit different. Yes, because we're going to see, and not only in that way, but we're going to see it in a more subtle way, that practice. And then we have burning offerings to Dorje Kadru, which is my favorite because I like fire. So it's about you using substance, and in this case, black sesame seeds, as representations of your negative actions of body, speech, and mind, and you're offering it to the fire. That is the overall picture, like, overview, the overall picture. Yeah, because also you need a specific prayer, a specific initiation to do that. Yeah, well, not a specific initiation, but you need the highest yoga tantra initiation. So I cannot talk about it, but it's a very powerful practice as well. Very powerful. Very powerful, because fire is an element, right? It's a strong element. So if you are there just doing it and trying to visualize and trying to do a repetition, because repetition of an action is exactly what we are doing, because we are like a habitual minds, but it's exactly what we don't want, right? We don't like repetitions in a way. We want new things, right? We like shining new things all the time. That's what we want. But actually repeating the same thing again and again and again and again and 100,000 times, it's extremely powerful to break habits. Actually, there's a very nice book called The Power of Habits with Charles Duggins, whatever. And it talks about that in 2 weeks, you can change, a habit if you really practice. So here, if we are talking about countless lifetimes, habituating our minds with our anger, our attachment, our wrong views, we're going to need more than 2 weeks. So that's why we need to really, make it these practices again and again and again and again and again and again. And this is exactly why it is so powerful, because we are just repeating them, and that aspect will create that connection, and will make our minds break those negative habits and engage into these positive ones. The repetition, the continuity, the again and again and again. Okay? So, what else do I need to talk about? I need to talk about something else. I know I have to. Yes. So, what is important is we already talked a little bit about that. Our friend will ask a question about, oh, I like if I do it by day, by that. We try to do it what we can, right? Depending on our lifestyles, what we have, So, if you can do it a little bit, you can decide, oh, maybe we're going to start with refuge, as we said, okay, so you just do a bit of refuge every day. If you want to do it like water balls every day, you just do a little bit of water balls and you just go doing it. But if you want to be able to accomplish, then you might need to give a little bit more of attention. So instead of going into vacations to Disneyland, you might take, that kind of week to do a retreat where you're going to do maybe a few more hours, maybe 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 hours of that practice, right? But it doesn't, you don't need to, you don't have to. But if you want, you will see the benefits more, right? So, because it's not about accumulating the numbers, as we said, but it's actually really having that intention and transforming our minds. That is the most important. And then understanding that these practices are practices that have been written or that have been taught, by beings that have benefited and realized and transformed their minds. And they are only here with the intention to help us to stop our negative emotions to arise, stop our negative tendencies, and decrease our wrong views, our projected wrong views. So then we can have a mind that is a fertile field. Fertile is good. Fertile field for realizing the true nature of the mind. Right? And not only that, the moment we are doing this, we're also habituating our minds with positive qualities. So Instead of being selfish and just thinking about me, I'm thinking about others. Then the more I do that, the more I create that habitual pattern. So that when I achieve enlightenment, I just have that habituated mindset in my mind, the positive one. So then it just become unlimited and unconditional. Because that is, until we don't have the correct view, we're always limited by that wrong view. But once we don't have it, everything's possible. That is really the idea. So remember, I told the story about that someone asked Rinpoche, and then they went and they did it, everything. Rinpoche said, okay, you go back and do it again. Because people are just fixed on the numbers. Because that's what we do normally, right? We are a little bit of goal oriented, or goal result oriented. Now we just want the result, and then we forget about the path. And here the path is the point, right? It's transformation. So we transform by doing things, by really engaging in the visualizations, engaging with the intention, engaging in the practice, and not just kind of like, okay, good, done, Oh, yeah, because you can just come and say, okay, I'm gonna be that, then you just repeat, but your mind is thinking, oh yes, I'm so good. Oh, look at me, I'm amazing. Oh yes, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna show to everybody that I'm amazing. Then you're just increasing your self-cherishing, isn't it? Remember, practice of Dharma is everything that goes against the self-cherishing. So if I'm just here, oh, I'm gonna amazing, oh, everybody's gonna see me and like kind of like say, wow, you already finished everything on time, blah 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 blah. Then you're actually habituating your mind with the Dharma, thinking that the Dharma is something that increases the self-cherishing. Worst type of mind that you can create, right? It's exactly the opposite of Dharma. So then, and then you say, oh, yes, and then my teacher is going to be very pleased with me because, they love me only, and then I'm special and all of that. Completely different, right? Because that's not at all what the Buddhas and the teachers are thinking. The Buddha doesn't need you, doesn't need your numbers, doesn't need anything. The teacher wants you to achieve enlightenment so he can relax, enjoy, blissed out. You understand? Not having to come back and be patient with you because you're just thinking about yourself, right? So that is the difference. That is really the difference about doing a practice or not. That's why we always start, and all our classes, we start with the motivation, with the intention. Because if there is not there, then it just becomes that is an action of the body or the speech, and it doesn't make any difference, right? So that is why in Buddhism, we are more interested in the motivation and the intention than the outside result. We're not interested so much. So that is why sometimes it's hard, because we see that sometimes, like the Dalai Lama or Rinpoche scolding someone, and we say, oh, but that person is very angry. Because we think that that scolding, we assimilate as associate with, kind of like that anger. But if that mind doesn't have anger and uses that manifestation as a way to make you, right, wake up and pay attention and stop creating negative karma, they're gonna do it because they're free. They don't care what people think or don't think, right? They are not conditioned to, oh, I should be like this, I shouldn't be like this. Doesn't have that conditioning. There's only benefit to others. So if I need to kind of like slap you in the face, it slaps in the face, So that's what the guru can do it, because it only wants to benefit you. But then what do we understand? Oh, the guru is bad, the guru doesn't need, we think like this. Because we don't think that these might be what we might need in order to develop our minds. The same way, oh, the guru gave me, instead of 100,000, 1 million prostrations, Great. Yes, helping me to see that, and that's what I need to do. So then I engage with that mindset. So the preliminary practices are the best methods that we can, if we want to achieve enlightenment, and we all need to develop it. So is just doing preliminary practice going to be enough? No. We're gonna need also to study, to contemplate, to meditate. We're gonna need to understand, the teachings. We're gonna need to then, if we want, and if we're ready, if we want to achieve enlightenment quick, then we need the tantric path. We need to, go into that. Learn how to drive the Lamborghini. Then we're gonna achieve that light enlightenment very fast. In one lifetime, we can do it if we want. So that is why, these practices, they need to be understood, they need to be taught, they need to be kind of like checked, they need to be done. And then you do it, and then you come back, and then you ask and say, wow, is happening? Is that like this? Oh yeah, okay. Then you go back, and then you do more, and then you come back, you go and come back. It's like that. It's not okay, now I just need to do, and then you start to do it, and then you don't know, just go and ask, is it working? Is it the best way? Oh, these I'm happening. How should I visualize this? How should I visualize that? That is a little bit what we can do, you know? Oh, thank you, Tal. So I think that was it. No, what else I can say? Any questions? Online people, any questions? No? Okay, so everybody got enlightened. Great. Yes, Alex.
I'm just curious about the wisdom if you imagine. There are some differences, like accumulation,
Yes.
depends of the living.
Yes. And there's also depending if you're doing a refuge or you're doing kind of like a tantric merit field, right? So normally we do have the refuge field that we see, which is Buddha Shakyamuni in the middle, which is in the same nature of our guru, right? So it's a more kind of like approaching the qualities of the Buddha with the qualities of the guru, right? And ours. When we do a practice, a tantric practice, we're gonna see like Tara, for example, or we're gonna see Lama Tsongkhapa, or we're gonna see a deity, right, as the merit field, and then we are seeing that that is specific manifestation of the Buddha's mind, which is the deity, right? It's also inseparable from the Buddha, inseparable from the Guru, inseparable from us. So it's just different, but it's same. But normally what we're going to see is that we're going to see the entire lineage masters. So all of the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, all of the people who have kind of like walked that path before us from Buddha Shakyamuni until now, we're going to see it there. But especially we're going to see our root guru, that teacher that we make that connection strong, that benefits our minds the most. This person is the person that we're going to start to try to create that relationship again and again and again and again and again when we are doing that, that practice. Yeah. Be quick on that. Any other comments, questions? Yes.
I have a request
Yes.
that you will give a teaching. I don't know if we'll be able to fit it in this visit, but on the teacher, like selecting a teacher and the student teacher relationship. I think don't you think that's important to go with this?
Yes, we can do that. We can think about it. We can fit somewhere. And it's Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We need a new day, like 8 days a week. And then we can do that. So just wanted to say thank you so much for being here. Honestly,
Thank you.
having all of you is just very, 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 very inspiring to me. All of these great people, incredible, kind, generous, enthusiastic, very smart, wise, compassionate people. All of you are. So, so all of these really makes all of these blah, blah, blah maybe makes sense. I hope, that makes any sense to you. Don't kind of like, try to, as I said, it's just an overview. So not really, I cannot do it in many details, but try to look for, and I have it. I've created a little document with many resources. Yes,
Yeah.
resources. There are many resources around, there's everything. There's especially there's a center called Land of Joy, which is a center that I help. I'm part of the board, and not the problem that I create myself, that I kind of like I help them, and I go over there to the retreats as well. But they have a place where you can have all of the preliminary prayers and all of the kind of like the resources, and you can go and commentaries and all of that. So I'll send it to you. It's very, very special. And then you can see it. And then you kind of like, yes, investigate, check, and go and like do that and do the, like go to the others, send like, to the other commentaries, go through them, understand, blah blah blah, and then makes sense, then makes a lot of sense, and then the practice becomes juicy, and then you become like, yes, this makes sense, and I like that. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you so for being kind and patient and developing this. So let's dedicate. Let's make sure that everything that we've done, everything that we listened, that all of these incredibly, incredibly powerful imprints, as I was saying, we create so many imprints in our minds, everything, every time, all the time, blah, 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 but not these types of imprints, because these types of imprints will bring us to enlightenment. That's where it's going to bring us. And not bring us just to kind of like have more pleasures, more sensory pleasures, more kind of like, the like deceiving pleasures, but actually real pleasure. So let's really, really dedicate that everything that we do, don't stay only with ourselves, that we can really develop our minds, open our hearts, and benefit sentient beings. And for that, we need to give up our sufferings, give up our sensory pleasures, and really achieve enlightenment, the mind of no more suffering, and the mind that realizes the truth of reality, how things are. So for that, we really dedicate, and we need to do these preliminary practices. So for us to be able to create the enthusiasm and to create the conditions, the body, speech, mind conditions in this life and all our future lives, to receive teachings and to practice and to finish all of these preliminary practices. Okay, let's create this wish. May we finish all of them, and may we in all our lives be guided by teachers who teach us, who show us the unmistaken path, who show us also the preliminary practices again and again and again and again and again until our own enlightenment, so we can benefit all sentient beings. So we're gonna do a little bit of prayers, just very short. Okay, I promise you guys. I promise it's gonna be very short. That you guys are not gonna kind of like be here for hundreds of hours. Just maybe a few hours. I'm kidding. So we're just gonna dedicate, which I have no idea which dedication. Up 376, 36. Yes. Due to the merits of these virtuous actions, may I quickly attain the state of a Guru Buddha and lead all living beings without exception into that enlightened state. May the supreme jewel bodhicitta that has not arisen arise and grow, and may that which has arisen not diminish but increase more and more. I think that now what we talk, these prayers make a little bit more meaning, no? May I quickly attain the state of a Guru Buddha. Guru and Buddha, same, right? So may I become a Guru and a Buddha. Okay. And lead all living beings without exception to that enlightened state. Very good. May the Supreme Jewel Bodhicitta has not arisen, rise and grow. Is now and not diminish. So that means we need to practice preliminary practice to make sure that they don't diminish. Okay? But increase more and more. By doing what? Preliminary practices. That's how we do it. Okay? And of course, the wish fulfilling jewel of our lives, His Holiness the Dalai Lama, that without his kindness and compassion and wisdom, we would not even believe it is possible. And I'm so, so happy that we're going to create the conditions for some of us to go and meet him in October. So I hope that we can create the conditions for next year and all our years until, we are here alive and His Holiness is alive, that we can meet him again and again. And in future lives, we can ask His Holiness, please guide us. Please, 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 please don't forget about us. Wherever you manifest, guide us. So we do these prayers. In the land encircled by snow mountains, you are the source of all happiness and good. All-powerful Chenrezig Tenzin Gyatso, please remain until samsara ends. And, to make sure that Rinpoche can come back, His Holiness the Dalai Lama made this prayer, he created this prayer after Rinpoche passing away to make sure that we can create the conditions to meet with Rinpoche again and again and again and again and again and again in future lives. So Rinpoche to come back in this life at least, that we are still alive and continue guiding us, giving advices, and especially being embodying these qualities of the enlightened mind, speech, body, speech, and mind. Fearless teacher and assembly of the children of the victorious ones, Shravakas and Pratyeka Buddhas, victorious Losang, father and sons, along with the lineage masters, all objects of refuge of infinite lands, please bestow the virtue and goodness of accomplishing this prayer here and now. Holding and spreading the Muni's precious and complete teachings through explanation and practice, you are the armor of patience that is never discouraged. Incomparable, venerable Guru, to you I make this request. While striving single-pointedly for the sake of the victorious one's teachings, the sole gateway to reach all benefit and happiness emerge, and from other living beings you suddenly departed to peace. What a great loss! Nevertheless, through the undeceiving truth of the blessings of the ocean of the three jewels and the great ways of bodhicitta of the children of the victorious ones, may the smile of a reincarnation swiftly beam in glory for fortunate disciples. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful end of your Saturday. I see you tomorrow if we don't die. Thank you very much.
11 o'clock.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much. Thank you. Bye-bye. Thank you. Thank you, Spears. Thank you so much. Thank you for being here. Bye-bye.
The teaching at 11, the meditation at 10:15.
Sometimes.
And then next Saturday is